Hey, welcome back to Five Lakes Garage, and today is exciting. You probably saw my other video when it was kind of prepping out the idea of what we're getting ready to do, but this is where we're actually going to start it. It is a new day, and we are ready to dig in to this 2019 Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road. Now, I've taken this thing off-road a little bit, not too much. I do have plans to take it out a little bit more. Definitely found a bunch of limitations. One being it needs a winch. Not only needs a winch, it needs some sort of protection up here. The plastic is just not enough. So what we're going to do is actually take everything off the front and install this guy. All right, this is called a Zeak 10,000 pound winch. All right, so like I said in the other video, full disclaimer, that is a Chinese knockoff. I didn't really want to spend a lot of money on this particular one just in case. Well, I don't plan on using it that often, but I would like for it to work when I need it. But anyway, so we got that. We're going to be able to put it in. First thing you need to do is take everything off the front of the truck. But before we do that, take a peek. Yep, got another shirt. This is the Five Lakes ODL channel. Go ahead and check that out if you get a second. I'll put the link down below. But basically, ODL, outdoor living. So when I do take this thing off the road and I do take it on the trails or fishing or gardening, whatever, you'll see it on that channel instead of this one. This is the main channel. We're gonna fix it on this channel, show it off in the other. So go ahead and subscribe to both. I can always use subs. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and take off everything off the front. Now the first thing you wanna do is actually take off the grill. Now there's a couple things you really have to pay attention to because you really don't wanna have that light flashing you on the dashboard. So first thing you wanna do is actually disconnect your sensor. Now this sensor here is for your radar that's sitting right behind your emblem. And that will control your cruise control and everything like that. So make sure you disconnect that, don't rip it off. Also, there's a 10mm bolt there, 10mm bolt there. Also, go ahead and unclip. It goes right there. Go ahead and unclip that, or else that will cause you problems. Also, you had a clip right here, set right there. Now, you just pop the little top, and oops, I dropped it. Anyway, go ahead and pull that off. Now, a little tool that helps you out greatly, if I can find it, is this little guy right here. Now, I picked this up from Amazon when I picked up an entire case of little clips, because of course you break them all. This thing works fantastically. I recommend getting that. Not only that, get yourself some plastic little, most of the time you use these for interiors. Since this entire front end is made out of really thin, flimsy plastic, this will help you keep your paint nice and fresh. Anyway, let's get the grill out. So basically you pull your two bolts, you got your pins, and then this, there you go, comes right out. Now there's a couple clips on the bottom that you just kind of give it a little bit of tug and it actually comes out. But be careful with it, don't break them. It's a good thing the CJ has a soft top, because you just put all your parts on top and you don't have to worry about scratching it. Yeah. Anyway, so the next thing you want to do is actually take off the entire fascia. Now, in order to do that, there's a lot of little plastics things you need to take off. Again, they look like this. That's installed. That's uninstalled. Pull it right out. Now, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are you done? No, you're not, because you have to take this guy off. Basically, this is just a little compression fitting here, which will pull off of the actual fender. You have a bolt right here, 10mm. You have a bolt underneath here, 10mm. And then you got to pull your fender flare off. Now, if you look right here, you have a tab, tab, tab. Now, if you can reach your hand behind here, you can actually pull those pins. It is doable, and of course I can't get the camera in there to actually show you, but you pull that off and then that will actually free up this entire section. And you're still not done, because there's a few spots underneath that you have to take out. Where's my paper? All right, now we're underneath. Anyway, so there is, I already took the bolt out, but there's a little bolt right here, 10mm, 10mm. Pull those out of the way. Also, you have one right here, 10mm, and a 10mm. Get those out of the way. Now, once you get all those fasteners off, you should be able to pull your front bumper. Now, you also have lights in here. Make sure you unplug those. Don't rip those things off. And before you actually pull that off, you don't want to scratch it up. Have a place to actually put it to where it's not going to get scratched up. So I'm going to go set up some sawhorses and some moving blankets so I don't scratch it. So we might need to modify it. Well, we'll see. Alright, so you have the whole fascia off. Alright, so we really want to take this black piece off. So what we're going to do is flip it over. Okay, so in order to get the black piece off, there's these little clips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 off the bottom. And then you have some right here on the top. So we can take your little tool again and just, I'm going to do it one-handed again. So anyway, you just pop these little tabs and then push them right through. All right, now be careful with them because you don't want to break it like I just did with that one. God, see, that's what happens when you try to film it and you only got one hand. I feel for all those people that are amputees. All right, the good thing is I don't plan on using that black piece anymore. I just need this regular basic opening. So let's go back and start tearing stuff off the front of the truck. All right, so we have to take off this little thing. I'm not exactly sure what this thing is supposed to be, except for maybe keeping the front flap from flapping. But you have these little tabs. Well, that was a chore. Okay, so you have 1 tab, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tabs, 10 tabs, 11 tabs, just to get this little piece off. Now, explain something to me. Actually put it down in the comments. What is this thing for? I don't know. It's definitely not for crash. There's hardly anything there to protect it. All right, we're not going to reuse that. So the next thing you need to do is go ahead and pull this off. All right, so there's 3 bolts, 14 millimeter, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's 6 just to get this section off. Then there's 6 more over here. I already took a couple of them off. So there's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we need to get this bar out of here. So let's do that. All right. So now we have everything cut off. Well, not cut off, but taken off. All right, so this is the front of your of your frame. I would have to admit I don't like it. I got my gauge right here. All right, so this particular area is for impact. So if you run into something, it's going to push back. Not really designed to be pulling like we're going to put for a winch. Now if I put this guy up here, this is my little gauge. Okay, we're looking at 1/8 thick. I don't think I really like that for pulling on it. So we're going to figure out a way of actually making that a little bit stronger. So one of the other things that we need to do with the front end here, well, probably gonna need to get rid of this hook. Now we're gonna have some D-rings hanging off the bumper, so we do not need this. This one right here is actually welded on. We're gonna try to save that because I don't feel like cutting it off. Anyway, so there's a bracket here and a bracket there. And what we need to do there is make a extension bracket to push this closer into the condenser and the radiator. So we're gonna put it for maybe about 1 inch off. So I'll take some measurements, I'll make some little tabs, and we'll be able to put that in place. Then we can see where we can put the winch. All right, one of my goals of making this bumper is that I want to make it to where it looks like the black piece that was on there, to make it look a little bit factory, but put a little bit of beef in it. Now, in order to do that, I don't really want to cut this fascia up as little as possible. So what I need to do is make a bunch of measurements. Now I've already made some. You see right there, I just kind of drew the opening. Those are the frame rails that are coming out. They're about 32.5 inches apart, center on center. Now I did, before I took this off, I made some measurements from the ground. So this is a shop floor. I can't really change that, so that's gonna be my, my constant. Now it's 28 inches up to the top of this, and it's 22 inches to the bottom. Now that would be this opening right here. So this is where I want to put my fairling and the bumper and everything like that. So then we gotta know how wide it is. So it's about 39 inches. I put 38.5 just to give me a little bit of extra, just a little bit of wiggle room in case I get a little too emotional. Anyway, What I'm going to do now is try to make up some brackets for the cooler, push it back, so that'll give us a little bit more room, and that'll be the maximum amount of room that we're going to be able to use. So I'm going to go fab that up, come back and show you how I did it. All right, my brackets are made. I got 2 of them. They're still a little tacky because I just painted them, because you always want to paint it because you don't want it to rust. Also, don't forget to brush off the protective coating that you have on the steel when it's in shipping, because if you don't, it's just going to peel off. You don't want to do that. You want to keep the paint on there. Now this one here is actually going to be the bracket for the hose that's going to actually hold things together. Now we're just going to move it back a couple inches. So I made it and I actually bent it a little bit so I can put a bolt underneath, and but I don't have to weld it or anything like that. I could, but I don't really want to. But anyway, got a little bracket for that as well. And then I went to my bolts bin and found some grade 5. But anyway, I'm going to throw these in there and show you what it looks like. Give me a second. It's kind of hard to film and do it at the same time. 1 second. All right, all my brackets are in. Take a look, see what you think. All right, so we got the little bracket. Little tip, put your bolt in first before you put your other one. But I don't know if you can see it back there, but basically I just put the nut and bolt on that side, push it there, push everything back. A couple things you need to look out for. Don't get it too close to your radiator or your condenser right here. Make sure she has a little bit of room for wiggle. You do not want to corrode a hole inside your condenser. That means you don't have any air conditioning, and we can't live without that. So anyway, actually you can see my bolt back there in the back. So I tighten that down, tighten this down, make sure that it is nice and secure. Now, the other bracket, the third one, is over here in the wheel well, which was kind of hard to get to. All right, so there is my new bracket that I made. Kind of kicked it up just so I can put that bolt underneath and be able to tighten it down. So I just moved it back in the same distance as I did the front. And also, keep in mind, since you move that, it pushes things in the way. So there is my hose. I'll get my light in here. So there's my hose, and then there's my AC line. Now I did have to pull the AC line out of the way just a little bit, just so that it will leave a gap in between the hose that I just moved and my AC line. I don't want to run the risk of rubbing a hole in any of that stuff. So it is up and out of the way. So now we're at a good spot where I can jack that winch into that location, take a bunch of measurements, and see what we can actually do. Because then we get to cut, we get to weld, we get to throw sparks. All right, I think I got it figured out. Might be happy with it, might not be, we'll find out. The only thing I'm kind of concerned about is the amount of threads left on that bolt right there. I don't have it tightened all the way. As you can see, I can move it. So it should have enough threads there. This cardboard behind it is basically going to be my template, so you can see all the way down there. And that's what I need to cut out of 3/16 plate so that we can actually make it pretty darn strong. Got the same thing on that side. Now I do have my level over here. See if I can get it level right about there. Now this little line right here is actually touching it, so what I might do is just notch that out of the plate. Either that or I can push it back, but if I just notch that out, it should be fine. The rest of it, the cooler in the back, it's got a little bit of a gap, but it should be enough to keep it from rubbing. Just don't want anything rubbing. Anyway, so down here we're going to use a 1/2 inch bolt, which is about 6 inches long. It's going to go all the way through this whole sub cross member and bolt to the other side. And then I'm going to put some 3/16 plate and triangle it here and triangle it here to make all this one big unit and be able to keep it from flopping up and down and stuff like that. So that should be a lot more strength than some of the other ones. So yeah, bolt that on. I'm going to weld all the way here, all the way down. Anyway, take it all apart, grab my templates, and cut it all out with the plasma. I love that thing. You should probably get one. All right, pulled the truck out, got my plate down, got my gloves, got my specs, but most importantly, oh my goodness, oh yeah, that's right, plasma cutter, baby. Of all the tools I had in the shop, compressor, #1, welder, #2, plasma cutter, oh, so close on #3. Love this darn thing. Now I could cut this out with a grinding wheel and stuff like that, but why do that when you can just push a button and let it do the work for you? Now, but anyway, I'm gonna put my jacket on because I don't want to mess up my new duds. Check it out. That's right, Lakes ODL. Check it out. That's a bad sign. I got spider webs all over. Which means I don't do this enough. Everybody wants to go on vacation. All right. All right, let's cut it out. All right, so they're all been cut out. That took, what, 9 seconds? Well, in elapsed time, it took 9 seconds. It took about a little bit longer than that, but they are all cut. Now, it does look a little bit rough, but we're gonna take care of that because I'm gonna drill the holes, go upstairs to the drill press, drill the holes, put some bolts in it to keep them together, and then I'm gonna take them with a belt sander and just clean it all up and make them look beautiful. Now, they aren't gonna be mirror images of each other. It's just one's gonna be flipped. So the holes should line up, the templates line up. If the templates line up, then you know we're good to go. And then start grinding or sanding. We're gonna make them look pretty. All right, we're gonna go ahead and drill the first one. Make sure you use plenty of lube when you drill bit, or else you're gonna have to sharpen them again. So make sure you use plenty of lube. Thank you, Dave, little brother Dave, for the AC units. I can wear this jacket and not die. Thanks, bro. Anyway. All right, so I got all my braces cut out, and if you can see, I went ahead and beveled them on both ends to make sure we actually get some sort of penetration. Now, the plates that I ground down before, which you probably saw me do that, they came out really good. I just bolted them to the truck. Now I just have the winch plate nice and level, and when I cut these little right angles, if I can get it right, it's gonna, there you go. It's gonna go up there like that. I'm gonna have the same thing on the other side. Now I just tacked in this one and tacked in that one. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pull it off the truck and put it on the bench. Now when you're welding on the truck, please remember, disconnect your battery. You do not want all this arc stuff to go back into your computer and jack it up. So anyway, I'm gonna pull this guy off, and I might go ahead and pull the winch off and weld all this stuff in nice and tight. I gotta take the wire brush and get rid of the paint. Make sure you're only welding on clean metal. So I'm gonna get the truck back out of here because I don't want to have any splatter on it, but I think we're good to go, and so far so good. I think it's coming out, but we'll see. All right, let's throw some more sparks because I know you love that anyway. I like it too. Whew. All right, that was a lot of welding. So much so that my welder just shut off, only because of the got a little too hot. So I'm gonna let it cool down, and hopefully it'll start back up again so I can actually finish this and get this thing back on the truck. Now, if you have a 110 welder, or you don't have one that has a really high duty cycle, you're gonna run into this. But it's okay. Take a look at some of, see, this doesn't look too awful bad. Some of it's even worse than others. Yeah, I keep saying over and over and over again to clean your metal. There was a couple spots where I cleaned, but didn't clean far enough. And I should have just stepped back, reground, and do it again. But I didn't. But it's okay, there should be enough steel and enough weld on this thing to actually hold it together. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get a drink. I'm gonna let this guy cool off. Maybe I'll ventilate this shop for a second, and when you come back, hopefully I'll start painting it or something. Oh, see you in a bit. Hey, good morning. Well, it's good morning for me. Anyway, the winch plate has been completely welded all the way around. You can definitely tell the ones that I did with my glasses and the ones without my glasses. And yeah, I don't even think the grinder could have helped it, but it is on there. It is pretty strong. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I did put quite a few gussets on there and welded them fully. And then just threw some black paint on there. Now the paint it's on enamel. It's got primer in it. It should last for a really long time, but this isn't really the true final product, only because I still got to do the cosmetics. This video is all about how to mount it to the front of your truck and hopefully keep it there. Like I said before, the mounting plate for the actual bumper is for an impact, not really a pull. So we added a 1/2-inch bolt down here at the bottom that actually should hopefully keep this thing from ripping off your truck. But we'll find out. So let's put this thing on. All right, so I got the Zeak 10,000 pound winch on the plate again. Just should have done it the first time, but hey, it's early in the morning. Anyway, let's go ahead and mount this guy. All right, the winch is in there. I don't think she's gonna go anywhere, but we'll have to find that out a little bit later. Now, the next step would actually put the whole face back on the truck because I am out of time. But step one is pretty much done. It is on the truck. It is not gonna go anywhere. I do need to put the fascia back on and take some more measurements. I believe I'm gonna have to take this Fairlean and actually move it out like 5 inches. Only because the front fascia is so deep. I was thinking about pulling this a little bit forward, but then that would create an issue with the free spool lever hitting the cross member. We need to mount the control box. There's so much more that needs to be done. But thanks for actually watching the first step of actually installing it on the truck. And hopefully you stick around for I guess this would be what, part 3, which will be actually building the face of it and actually making that a little bit more cosmetically pleasing. I don't know. Anyway, stay tuned and keep watching, and we will finish this up hopefully sometime soon. But yeah, not going anywhere. Catch you guys later. For now.